Now, yesterday I brought you a story about Baleba that personal terms have gone ahead to be agreed in between Baleba and the club of Man United. And guess what? Guess what? After personal terms being agreed, you know the duel, you know what really happens next. What really happens next? Club to club contact, and when a club contacts the other, then that's when the club will obviously get to know how much they are willing to see to it that obviously sell this player in here onto the United Matters channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. United is what we are talking about, and we're here to push this narrative to the best level possible. Now, there is a Jadon Sancho in the mix of this opening story of the day, and another story from Matthias Ligt. That is it. So guys, let's obviously go eyes and continue to subscribe to this channel and see to it that all goes on well as planned onto this beautiful channel in there. Now, let's start it off with Fabrizio Romano. He told us that this weekend, that was Sunday and Saturday last week, was important for Man United to understand more about Carlos Baleba and whether to move on other targets or not. They remain in contact with Baleba's agents and are still thinking about his possibility. You understand? So, United have gone ahead to use this weekend or the previous weekend to obviously come up with the narrative or come up with a decision on whether to continue with the guy known as Baleba or to obviously let it roll out and really look out for a replacement. But they are still in contact with the agent. He also added and said Man United will continue talks with Carlos Baleba in the coming days. It remains a tough deal, but United remain in contact with his agents and want to make an attempt for the deal. They are not giving up. So, Man United are not giving up on Carlos Baleba, and all they are really looking at is that the player has given them their yes, and they're willing to obviously go to the side of Brighton and really put in what we call a bid, and they are not giving up on Baleba. So, if they are not giving up on Baleba, what are they really planning this week? This is where Marco Alcaraz comes in through, and he's a United independent football journalist covering transfers in there for you. He has told us that plan to make direct club-to-club contact with Brighton next week for Carlos Baleba. Positive progress has been made on Baleba's personal terms, which are not expected to be an issue and very close to being agreed. Now, after United has gone ahead to convince Baleba that they are the ideal club for him to join, guess what has gone ahead to happen? You know, Man United now want to contact Brighton officially and really pose a question. How much are you selling this player? Because in the media, we are seeing 104 million pounds. You understand? But what is the realistic value of Baleba? I've gone ahead to see Court Offside quoting 60 million pounds. And for a player they bought for less than 20 million pounds, I think if they can make a profit of like 60 million pounds, that will be something great. If they can sell him for 80, that will be at least a very huge profit for them. But this is a team that is really hard when they are selling one of their best players or a player they believe if they hold him a little bit, you know, for some time or for one more season, they can even get 120 or 30 million pounds. The same scenario happened to the player known as Moise Caicedo. In the January transfer window of 2023, Arsenal showed huge interest to sign Moise Caicedo, and Arsenal had gone ahead to put in a bid. The first bid was 60 million pounds, the second one was 75 million pounds, and they are preparing the third one, but Brighton told them, we are not selling this player. The player is not up for sale. That's what Brighton went ahead to obviously tell them. So, and Arsenal never wanted to ruin their relationship they really had with the player or with the team known as Brighton, because they had already gone ahead obviously getting Ben White and then they had also gone ahead, obviously, get Trossard from that side. So they were like, we are not willing to ruin our relationship we're really having with the team known as Brighton, and they really pulled out. Now, what happened? Brighton went ahead to obviously give Moise Caicedo a new contract, and they increased his salary because one of the things he put out on Instagram were like, he's really earning peanuts at Brighton, yet he really has a very huge family. A family of 9, he looks after all of them, he needs money, and you're really denying him an opportunity to go to Arsenal to earn close to 200,000 pounds a week. You get? Brighton increased his salary, and guess how much they sold him for in the summer? 6 months later, he left Brighton for Chelsea, and they had to get in 116 million pounds. So it might be the same scenario with Baleba. And they might be like, if Baleba gets this full season in at Brighton, he might obviously see himself, they might see themselves earning close to 120 million pounds, not million euros, but pounds. And for them, they're not even scared. Why? The contract of Baleba expires in 2028 because when he came in through in 2023, he signed a contract of 5 years plus a further 1 more year, meaning that they still have like 3 years on the contract of Baleba. And it depends on how United really attacks this direct contract, because Brighton is a selling club, you know, even for Mark Enquiry, you remember that deal, you know. Fabrizio Romano went ahead to put out a here we go, and Brighton used its official account and went ahead and replied to Fabrizio that it's not done. It's not done. But 2 days later, we saw Mark Enquiry holding a jersey for the club of Chelsea. So they are really a hard club to deal with, and they've gone ahead to set a precedent that you go at their side and you'll have to negotiate and dance to their tones. If you're not willing to dance to their tones, then all tunes, then you won't obviously get anything from them. So we are waiting to see what comes out from these club to club talks in there. But I think for me, Baleba is a good player, but we are laboring him with a very huge task on his shoulders. Coming in through at 100 million pounds, I don't think that it will be good business for the club of Man United. Unless otherwise, he really hits the ground running. But the moment he really takes some time to obviously suit into that system, the people and the media will obviously go to ridicule him. Something that won't go down well with the player. I don't know whether he really has a thick skin in all this, because they'll obviously come at him left, right, and center. But that is really a very huge move for the club of Man United. And this week, we anticipate a very huge story from the Tier 1 journalists, Jacobs Ben, Fabrizio Romano, and David Austin, as far as this deal is really concerned, because United wants to sign the player. And one is like, where are they going to get the money? The money is there, because Garnacho to Chelsea looks like it's obviously going to be coming to a completion, 40 to 50 million pounds. That is pure profit money that United will obviously be getting into from this player. So I think the money is there, and it's not obviously going to be a problem. And positive talks are expected or anticipated from a deal like that in there. So that is it for Carlos Baleba to Man United. And United aren't giving up. They're like, we will push and 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 push to the last man standing in there. So that's it for the side of Man United and Baleba. This week is really very important because it's the 11th today, and we are left with those are 20. We are left with like 21, 22 days to obviously see to it that United gets in a goalkeeper and a midfielder as planned and anticipated. So let's wait and see how that really pans out. Let's go to Jadon Sancho, a player that has not obviously been in the news for some time because everything cooled down, and looks like every club that is coming in to show interest in him, the player is like, no, I'm not obviously going to be playing for you. And this time around, There is a club that came in through, and Sancho has gone ahead to snap it again. And this club went by the names of Roma. Roma have inquired about the costs and pressed further in the evening with Man United's intermediaries regarding Jadon Sancho. So far, he has rejected everything up until today while waiting for Juventus, which has continued to stall. He rejected a move to Besiktas yesterday. Now, for Jadon Sancho as a player, I think he obviously has something that he really needs, like he believes he should be a player for a certain team. And he has snapped Roma, Besiktas, and very many other clubs that have gone ahead to show huge interest in the player. But he wants to play for Juventus. I don't know what Juventus is going to promise him, but I think he really had a very huge chance to stay at Chelsea. I don't know why he never really stayed at Chelsea. And he agreed to take a pay cut when he's playing for Juventus. And he has obviously gone ahead and want to really do it for Chelsea, because I think Chelsea were in a better position. He had suited him well like a glove, would have gone ahead to play in the FIFA Club World Cup, and the manager Enzo Maresca really wanted to obviously keep the player, but the player went ahead to tell them, if you can't pay me £300,000 plus, a salary that I'm really earning at Man United, I'm not obviously gonna be really playing for you. And then later he goes ahead to really agree to take a pay cut at Juventus. So I don't know how he went ahead obviously calculate with his agent, but I think after failing to get options that will obviously take him, I think he went ahead and obviously faced reality, and he was like, indeed, it's not obviously gonna happen as anticipated. So that's all about Jadon Sancho, and he's waiting for Juventus to obviously come up and really sign the player. So for Juventus, I think that Sancho will obviously help them a lot, but no assurance that they can obviously get him now, because if United want £25 million and Juventus doesn't want to pay that amount of money, then I think there is a problem. Maybe in those negotiations, Sancho will obviously have to earn all his salary, and United are like, get me £15 million, and the £10 million will obviously be used to pay his salary. That is it. So, big loss for the club of Man United, and a player that came in for £73 million, leaving the club for 15 or 25. Big loss. Yet there is a lot of huge potential in the player, and I don't know what really is running Sancho's head, I don't really know what is really running in his head, but it's really bad for him as a player, and he needs to obviously understand that it's not all rosy for him as a player. So that's all about Jadon Sancho in there, and let's leave Sancho there. Let's go to Matthias de Ligt. Now, Matthias de Ligt has come up and obviously had something to remind his nemesis and those that always come out to criticize him. He has said, sometimes people forget that I'm only 25 years old, and as a central defender, you are generally at your peak at 28 or 29. So far, that perspective, I'm still young quite. So, I know people haven't obviously gone ahead to understand Matthias de Ligt, but in whichever quality that you call in for central defender, de Ligt really has. That is it. At 25 years, people think he has been here for so long because he captained the Ajax team that was knocked out in the semi-finals by Tottenham Hotspur. You understand? And I think by then he was 18. That was in 2019, 2018, And now he's 25 years of age. He's also telling us that what people really forget is that a defender's peak is at 28, 25. That is it. And one will say, why are the likes of Lisandro Martinez really performing better even before reaching that age? But watch out a lot when they reach that age. They really look well, They look well, and everyone will be into them. So he's like, I'm quite young and my ceiling is really high, though I've gone ahead obviously miss out on very many opportunities. But I tell you what, I'm Matthias de Ligt, and I won't really find myself in a position of really not giving myself the flowers that I really deserve. So he's one of those defenders that Ruben Amorim is obviously starting on. He's a priority centre back, and we all know that he'll obviously come in through and really put in a very different shift altogether into the mix. So, guys, your thoughts on to United to contact Brighton this week on Baleba, and they're not giving up. What do you make about it? And then, what are your thoughts about Jadon Sancho snubbing AS Roma, snubbing Besiktas, as he really goes ahead waiting for a club known as Juventus to obviously come and really agree deal with Man United. Then lastly, Matthias de Ligt. He's like a defender hits his peak at 28, 29. You understand? Do you really agree with him? All that and more in the comment section below. United Matters channel it is. And yesterday I promised to do 5 videos. I did 3. You understand? But today, launching this video at 3 p.m. That means that around 5, I'll come and drop another one. Then we'll see how the other 3 really coming through. And if all goes well, even a live stream will obviously come on from this channel to discuss you guys. We sign out for now. See you later. Rock and David is my name. I'm out. Bye bye for now.